And the one, and two, and
Ba ba da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba 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 da ba ba da ba da ba da ba da ba da ba da ba.
welcome to Snazzmaster, a podcast about Taskmaster. I'm one of your hosts, Jasper the Narwhal. That's why I have a horn on me, apparently. And to my side, a man who's not afraid to show emotions, beothealea.
Ew.
And your voice did not crack into puberty this time.
I improved.
You have improved. I am very proud of you.
Thank you.
Now, today we'll be whispering to a pie. And I like pie. So I'm of course, right? I mean, I look forward to this, Oh, we get to see a pie. Pie.
What flavor?
I don't know. I've never tried a fruit pie. I've only tried dessert pies, but I want to try a fruit pie. Today's episode is, of course, named The Pie Whisperer. Or as the Channel 4 and Dave calls it, The Pie Whisperer, but without a dot at the end. Because apparently, the official name of the episode, if you look at the episode title, the title card for the episode, right? It's
the title card itself.
Yeah, it's always the name of the episode in lower caps, and then there's a dot on it, and a period. But if you look at the TV listings or the broadcasters who publish the show, right? It's always upper caps, and they remove the dot.
Oh.
Very curious.
Very curious indeed.
Now, the main event of this show, I mean, that is of this episode, of course, not Snazzmaster, is that they fixed a thing that I forgot to mention last episode.
Oh?
The camera that was pointing at Greg and Alex was kind of wobbly.
Well, I didn't notice that ever.
You gotta have that good old autistic vision like I do to see that. I think the cameraman was like breathing, something like that. Yeah. But one man who has not lost his magic touch is Greg, who during his intro managed to spit. And I had to see this twice, right? And I don't think you saw it. He managed to launch a dribble of spit 70 degrees angle from his face.
Yeah, that went over me. I did not notice that ever.
I mean, that would have gone over you because that just flew away from him towards like whoever was on his right. An incredible spit.
Incredible speed. Good thing in their position, there's no one to their right.
I mean, only the contestants.
No, a slight angle there. It makes like a V shape, so it would be the point of the V, but no one would be actually there.
Well, I mean, if it flies far enough, it might hit an audience member, but I don't know. Of course, we gotta talk about. There's actually only one line from the intro that I remember, and that is that Rasheen looks like she may have eaten a pack of family meatballs once. I mean, already she did. She brought 2 family packs of meatballs to Greg's house, and she ate one of them. And I'm willing to believe that story.
But to be fair, there was no time period implied in that story.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying I would eat a family pack of meatballs at a mate's house, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, meatballs are lovely.
Very lovely.
You just eat them, I mean, if they're frozen, maybe don't, but,
At least warm it up first.
Yeah, well, at least warm up. I assume Greg is a civilized man who has a microwave or at least a modest oven.
And they're so good for like sauces. If you get like the right, like not like the huge size, but like the individual bite-sized ones, those are great for sauces.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I've only seen people use either like the Swedish sauce or the marinara sauce, but I always wondered about like having more sauces on meatballs.
You know, I put meatballs in my tomato soup.
Oh, that does sound good.
It is
Oh,
good. It is a thing.
oh yeah.
And if we ever get a sponsor of this podcast, I think it should be Heinz because they make canned tomato soup. That's great.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So if you're from Heinz, the company, give us a call, yeah?
yeah. Mm-hmm,
We'll take payment in tomato soup and
mm-hmm.
meatballs. I don't know if
Oh
they
yeah.
make meatballs, but
Probably not.
probably not. So,
The infrastructure is probably too different for it to work out. You
I
know.
don't know. I'm sure they can figure it out. They're
Mm-hmm.
grown men. They know what they're doing. Let's move on, shall we? Or rather, let's begin with
Yes.
something called a price task.
Mm-hmm.
Today's topic: your most impressive item.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Would you make an opinion?
I have only two strong opinions in this task. The first one being the top opinion is Frank's leather cracker hat is so unique and specific. I do believe it's great for this task.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's like something you would get in RuneScape or something.
Yeah, true.
I
I
mean,
never thought
RuneScape
about
has
that.
those colored party hats that go for millions of gold pieces, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
Frank has a real life one.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's actually pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
And then my other strong opinion on the opposite spectrum is Racine's champagne bottle. That was phoning it in. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like champagne too, you know?
I know it's good, but it's not impressive. It's just like, yeah, we can all get this. All right, sure.
I mean, 500 quid for a bottle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have been, a man. I was about to say horny, but I'm trying to keep this family friendly. A man who wants to impress people. And the best way of impressing people, especially if the opposite sex, is a bottle of champagne. Okay, you disagree. That's fair.
It's fair. I find, I mean, like, yes, that does work on people, but I also find the people that work on to be low caliber in the first place and the act to be low caliber. So it's like,
Eh,
even if it works, it's not worth it in my opinion.
I guess not. But at least it's better than Ramesh's price, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Here's an Arsenal hat. It may have
Yeah.
been from a team bus during their 2001-2002 double. Don't get me wrong, Arsenal that season was great. But you have
Mm-hmm.
no proof that the hat is related to it, right?
Exactly. No proof. No proof.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Let me just see. I do believe, and I'm gonna have to look this up, that this was the season that they did not lose a match the whole season.
Oh.
I've, I want to pretend that was Arsenal, not Liverpool, but if I say it was Liverpool, and here's the thing, I don't like Liverpool fans online. They're annoying.
Damn,
You don't understand this. I know you don't understand this because you're American. Um,
look, look, I will neither confirm nor deny these accusations.
I would like to apologize. Arsenal won everything in 03 and 04. That they didn't lose a match that time.
Just
So
one match, though.
no, I mean they won every match. But the point is,
Mm.
what they should, what Ramesh should have shown up with was a hat from that season,
Mm-hmm.
from the season where they didn't lose 49 matches in a row.
Which is very impressive.
That is
All things
extremely
considered.
impressive by any standard.
Any standard, yeah, to have a perfect record. Mm.
Perfect record. None of this. Oh, they only won a double. Yeah, but that other Arsenal team is called the Invincibles, for crying out loud. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, that was a complete detour.
Hey, it was a necessary detour to establish why the hat was here, in case someone didn't know, like me.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it was talked about on the show, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume that if you're watching a podcast about Taskmaster, you have probably watched Taskmaster.
Yeah, but memories can be foggy, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so can hats, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, Tim wins because he apparently did the London Marathon once, which I guess that is more impressive.
It is impressive because of all the things that were presented here, that one is actually backed up with an action than just possessing it
I
outright,
don't know a custom-made letterhead. Custom-made
True.
Beo. That's still
True.
okay. If I just shows up with a trophy from a TV show, I guess sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, celebrity version of the show, so it doesn't count,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
as we can all agree.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, of course, we're watching a show about celebrities doing things.
Well,
Sure.
they're specifically comedians, so that, in my books, that is a tier above a little bit,
But I mean, we're
in the
still in
rankings.
in the bottom tier. Like watching celebrity golf, which for
Hmm.
the life of me I will never understand. Oh yeah, this is a pro-am golf tournament. Why? I don't want to see some. I was about to say I don't want to see a fat 55-year-old guy, but that's like what's his name, John Daly or whatever his name is.
No
Uh,
clue.
he's this guy who wears really crazy shirts all over the place, and he's
Mm.
57. So that
Yeah, yeah.
you may have seen the meme of Tiger Woods dressed normally standing in front of a man smoking a cigar.
Do you
No,
care? No, I have
no,
not.
okay, no. Point is, celebrity shows sometimes suck,
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't really disagree with the whole order things. Tim wins, Frank second, Rasheen third. Because I would still rather be. I would be more impressed by a 500-pound bottle of champagne than whatever this trophy is. What is Pointless? I've never seen a show called Pointless.
Hmm. That's where we have to disagree, but I understand why you're more that, but I would definitely just throw the champagne to the bottom tier immediately.
Well, I mean, higher than Ramesh, right?
Yeah, you're right. Higher than Ramesh because they're like on the same level. It's like, well, I just bought that. It's not impressive if you can just buy it.
I mean, if Plymouth Argyle had won the double, that would be different. But
Hmm, hmm.
a throwback to your last episode.
Oh yeah.
Um, I don't think Plymouth Argyle has won a trophy, but that's beside the point.
Hmm, hmm.
That's beside the point. Shall we move on, or do you have some kind of brilliant thought
No,
about
I already
anything?
gave my strongest thoughts on this task. I'm done with it.
That's
As we
fair.
discussed last time, I find the prize task structurally important to the show, but not remarkable beyond its importance of being something that's done live. You
I
know,
don't know. I think it's funny. I like it. I
it
know
is
it's not.
funny.
I know it's not the most important thing, but
Yeah, it is funny, but I don't find it remarkable post fact.
again, I don't think any of this is remarkable post fact.
Nah, I
But that's just the
disagree. I
nature
think
of
the
the show.
tasks, like the meat tasks, the main three, are remarkable post task, especially for the repeatability of those ones, but not the prize or the final task.
Okay, you know what? Since you bring repeatability up, I'm just gonna ask you: how do
Mhm.
you repeat task number one? High five a 55-year-old.
True. I feel like that one is repeatable in the fact that like you can't prep for it, even if you know the task that this is a possible task ahead of time. There's not anything you really can do to prep for it. You're just dumped into an area and be like, do it. And it's like, okay, I gotta do it now,
Yeah,
but I
but
have
I
no
mean,
prep time.
if you repeat it just like it is, you repeated a task first of all, which is a sin. But you can't just
Mm.
say, "Oh, high five a 50-year-old or 45." It's just the same task.
Yeah, yeah. But I still find it interesting to repeat this one. Because actually, my note on this task comes into play, which this task does play at the heart of the cultural perception of the person in the task. As we saw with Tim, who spent so long in the task being like, "Ugh, I can't just go up to a random person and ask them and like, But I feel like if you expose it to like many different cultural types of people, like some people would struggle just like Tim did, and some people would be just like shouting it out loud and be like, I need this person. Who here is this age?
It's certainly an extreme discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Beast would be great at it.
Oh, yeah.
I would be bad at it.
Mm-hmm.
Mr.
I feel
Beast,
like I would have like a slight hesitation in the beginning and just swallow it and then just go immediately into the shout out, I need this person. Who here is it?
you'd be drunk.
Yes, I would be drunk.
I did actually come up with a solution.
Well,
It's a mall, right? So there's got to be a speaker system, yeah?
yeah,
And if there's a speaker system, there might be a microphone.
of course.
You go find microphone room. And then you just go bully mall security until they let you. It's just ask over the microphone for a 55-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Just cover the whole mall in one message.
True.
Would probably be slower, but it would be less awkward.
Would it be less awkward?
I don't know. I mean, I don't have to look at a person while asking if they're 55.
Yeah, but you also could just stand in place and scream out, I need a 55-year-old. It's like this sort of
Yeah, but then you look like a
anonymity kind of thing.
psychopath.
Oh, that's a
Or
good
worse,
point,
you look
yeah.
like a domestic terrorist. I mean, Rubbish would.
Oh, that's...
I need a 55-year-old! And they'll call the cops on him because he's brown.
Oh, yeah.
He would
I
make
guess
the same
having the
joke,
speaker
don't.
system does give you authority in the case.
Yeah. I even hope so. I certainly hope so.
Now, do you agree with Frank's approach of dividing the age up?
No, I don't. It's very
Yeah.
simple, you know. It's a 55-year-old.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah,
say,
I too disagree. I do give them props for being creative, but at the same time, it's like, but that wasn't what I asked you, you know?
I mean, I will say it doesn't specify it's a 55-year-old person.
Oh, that's a good question. Can a non-person object give a high five?
I'm willing to say yes.
But then how do you confirm that? I mean, the easiest way to confirm it is to find like a bottle of wine, because those things are labeled by year. Be
Oh,
like,
that's a good
all
one.
right, this wine is 55-year-old. But then how do you high five it?
Well, you hold it in one hand and you just move it towards your other hand and you just, smash. I would personally count that as a high five.
You know what? I would count it too, but we're not the judges, and I really am now deadly curious about like how Greg would count it.
We'll
The
get on
answers
the
we will
mail.
never know.
Oh, we could mail him.
Well, we could.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't make a sign. Well, I mean, I wouldn't do what Ramesh did and just have a sign and just look like an asshole for an hour.
Yeah, just stand still.
Just
yeah.
stand there like, ooh, why is no one walking up to this strange man?
But you know what's the other thing about this situation that is also implicit, and I wonder if it adds air of authority? There's a camera crew there.
Yeah,
So
I don't think that
obviously,
helps.
obviously people see the camera crew. So like, couldn't you leverage that to your authority in this situation where it's like game show, I need a 5-year-old. I have a
Well, I mean,
game show.
that is basically what Tim did, right? He just walked up and
Yeah,
said,
but
"Oh, yeah,
Tim,
it's for charity."
yeah, but the weirdest thing about Tim is that they walked so far away from the camera and then made a false claim that I don't even know if the other guy actually perceived what was going
I don't
on or
know,
just
but
took Tim's word at face value.
people never notice the normal stuff, right? But
Yeah,
a camera
true.
crew is definitively not normal.
True,
So,
but what I'm saying is that Tim walked so far away from the
yeah,
camera crew at that point where
but
the person might have disconnected them.
no, I'm just saying, if you notice a camera crew
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of a public place, even if you're not going near them, you're still affected by them.
That's a fair point.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's my psychological theory.
Yeah.
It's not even a game theory, it's just a theory.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I will, though, on the subject of Tim, disagree with the whole penalizing him for lying.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't penalize that either.
It's not
They
the
got
rules.
it. There was nothing against it. Yeah.
As Alex would say, and has said a lot in later seasons, all the information is on the task.
Exactly.
And there ain't no rule saying you can't lie. And there's no rule saying you can't bribe people.
Yeah, and other contestants did go for the bribe option. Like, I'll pay you. That's what Ramesh did. Sorry, not Rasheen, Ramesh.
Well, I mean, he did a shit job at it, but yes.
Yes.
I will also say, and this is because, I think it was Frank who did it. I think it was Frank. Bullying a toddler.
I wouldn't call it bullying on Frank's
I think it was close
part.
enough.
It was close, but it wouldn't be like
Close?
It was close because at least Frank was like doing like the voluntarily part of it, and then the mother for some reason into the ice cream part of it. I was like, why did that come up?
I don't know, but I'm just feeling that's a power move, and you should be rewarded for that.
Actually, on that note, there was no a part of the task that said the high five had to be voluntary.
That is definitely true.
Like, if you went up to someone and said, like, "Are you 55?" and they go yes, and you slap their hand, would that count?
No, but here's the thing though: if that hand has to be up high, otherwise it's not a high five.
Oh.
Then it's just a 5. Which again leads us
Hmm.
back to the whole bottle question. Like, if you high five a bottle, and then again, if you hold the bottle up high, it's a high 5.
True. Well, now I'm just thinking about like the video game logic of like the fighting game Super Suplex where you jump into the atmosphere and be like, that counts.
Close enough, I guess. Close enough.
Close enough. I forced you up high, so therefore it's a high five.
Hell, dude, I mean, if you grab someone's hand, lift it, and high five it, yeah, sure, I'll count that. But it had to be a consensual high five. And I don't think there are any laws against non-consensual high fiving.
True.
I will say, sporting-wise, I do remember a story from Australia where the rules of the sport and the law of the country did not match up. I believe it was in Australian rules footy or something like that, which is basically just people kicking balls around. There was a guy going around tackling people by shoving a finger up his opponent's anus. I know. I will point out that was not against the rules of the sport. But the police did investigate him for sexual assault because of it.
I mean, no sport has murder against the rules, but obviously you don't do that.
I mean, yes. I feel that was a very important story to tell you.
I regret it, but the Queen in Yellow appreciates it.
He appreciates a lot of things, buddy.
Uh-huh.
So, at least now there's a rule for it, I think. If not a law, and I'm pretty sure, though, that not even the British police would arrest you for high-fiving someone against their will. I think.
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
I mean, to be fair, the British police,
Yeah,
they've had some fun
exactly.
years. They've had some fun years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They arrest people for weird stuff.
Oh yeah.
Not for high-fiving. But that might come.
Well, not for high-fiving yet.
Yet. Very important.
Mm-hmm.
In conclusion, Josh and Rasheen actually Josh does the job. And does it well. As opposed to Ramesh, who does nothing, high-fives the wrong person, and still gets a point. I would have disqualified him. And humiliated him.
True.
And I mean,
I still can't believe that Tim got like one try and it was correct.
You know what? Some people just have all the luck.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just get lucky. That happens a lot in this show. So, are you really need to high-five this task goodbye?
Oh yeah. Maybe even low-five it. But anyways.
That is not in the rules, mate. It says high-five.
True.
Yes. Now let's say hello to task number 2. I will, at this point, say that Tim is leading. If I can count the numbers, I don't know if I can. 8 is bigger than 7. This is important, probably. Task number
Probably.
2. 2 is higher than 1.
Mhm.
Identify the content of the 5 pies. Parentheses, you must not breach the pastry.
Mhm. This is another top-tier task to me.
It is a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's full of twists and turns and methods and disagreement on the rules, you know?
Exactly. That's what makes it so good.
Yeah, it does. And there's a very clear-cut goal. You get
Mhm.
the pie right, and, you know, you're right. Otherwise,
Mhm.
you're not right.
I gotta say, poor honest Frank Skinner, who
Yeah,
just thought it was an
yeah.
honest pie task.
I mean, look, I don't have much of a sense of smelling, right? But I'm led to believe that if you put your face down to a pie, you could smell the contents, right? Like steak and kidney sounds like it would smell, right?
I mean, they were smelling the pies, and some of them were based on smell. It's just like I
I
feel
mean,
like they also like falsified the crust scent, you know?
I'm not a baker. I mean, I assume you could falsify the crust scent.
I mean, one thing they could do for all these pies, and this probably happened with the toothpaste pie, given how we saw it broke later, is that
Yeah.
they baked an actual pie first, then flipped it upside down, cut out the bottom ring to do surgery to remove its contents and replace its contents, and then
That
replace the bottom.
is a good question, actually. It is not described how they made the pie. I mean, I've seen a lot of the Great British Bake Off and all that.
Mm. Yeah.
So I certainly think the bottom of a pie could fall out given the right circumstances.
Yeah, but on the toothpaste one, I remember
Yeah,
it was such a pure, clean
it wasn't very.
circle
Yeah,
cut that fell out. I was like, no, that one was tampered with. These are probably all tampered with post production.
I mean, I'm not saying all of them were tampered with, but maybe the toothpaste pie. Because how the fuck would you bake toothpaste, right?
That's good. I mean, you probably could still just actually have done a toothpaste pie baked to begin with. But they probably, again, my theory is that they wanted to have the rube, the red herring there, so they actually baked pies and then replaced their content.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I'm curious, right? You have a microwave, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Would you mind microwaving some toothpaste for me? Because what's
Oh,
gonna happen? Does it dry out?
it would dry out a little bit, but not too much. Microwaves actually don't evaporate.
No, I mean that's true. But they activate the water, the water atoms thingies stuff. I was not good at chemistry.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird in how it, because it's not a true heating and a true evaporation. It's why you can't melt ice in a microwave.
But the other point is, if you look at the toothpaste, it's not very toothpastey. It's very liquid,
Oh,
like
that's
whipped
true.
cream, right?
Yeah, true. It is warm in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta admit, you know,
Mm.
I'm not saying they did bake a toothpaste pie. I'm just saying it can't be outruled.
Yeah, it can't be outruled. You're right.
But then you look at the frozen pea pie. The peas obviously cannot remain frozen if you bake them. It's not a baked Alaska. It's a fucking
Right.
pie.
Right. Mm.
Like, how? Okay, I'm not a pie baking expert, okay?
None of us are.
Um, I'm sure some people are.
Well, yes, out there, but the none of us refer to us too.
True. And I think we can agree there's been some meddling with the pie.
Yeah, there's definitely meddling.
I
And
mean,
that's why I think Frank Skinner was thrown away by their scent of smell, because I think the meddling was intentional to preserve the smell as much as possible.
so if I understand you correctly, you're suggesting that all of them, in some way or form, had steak in them.
Well, not all of them had steak,
No,
because again,
but Frank identified all of them as some kind of steak pie.
oh, I may have overlooked that. I thought
I mean, it
they
was like
identified one of them as not being steak
no, it was
explicitly.
like steak and onions, steak and kidney. Oh, there was some. potatoes and cheese, I believe.
Hmm.
One of them.
There we go.
Which I very
Yeah.
much which I thought about because I would actually like to try that.
Yeah, I mean, like these classic pies that Frank has been identifying, they do sound all interesting.
I mean, look, for as much as we can shit on the British, some of their food is good. Not the whole beans on toast thing, but their pies.
Oh yeah, their pie culture is pretty good.
And I like I like kidney, right?
Hmm. I mean, to be fair, like the shitting on the British food thing, I find to be like the weirdest thing because like I find it interesting, like the whole idea of like when people complain like, oh, the British don't use spices in their food. And it's like, well, if you think about like international food, you don't think of what the upper class use as their food, except for the French for some reason. But most other international food, you think of what peasant food is more like. And it just
Yeah.
happens, like in most other regions of the world, there is a spice that grows plentifully. So of course the peasant food includes that spice because it's
But
just everywhere. But not England. England has no native spices. So
that's
of
what I
course their
don't
food wouldn't
get.
be.
Because I'm Danish, right? We live on the same. Is it latitude or longitude in this case? Which is up, which is up, which is sideways?
I don't remember. I can never figure that out.
We live on the same side. The lines that go sideways, right? We live on the same one as England, right?
Hmm.
And we still have some naturally occurring spice-like things. Like not like
Hmm.
spices, but flavor. They have flavor.
Yeah, but also, isn't England like an island and you have to take into account like the ability of a
Oh
plant
come
to track?
on! They have so many boats. They can pop over to France and pick up some herbs.
Yeah, but again, we're talking like time scales here. Like, we're talking hundreds of years versus thousands of years in culinary tradition.
Yeah, but I'm glad you asked actually because I looked up the steak and kidney pie,
Hmm.
and it was first recorded in 1826.
Oh, that's actually really recent, huh? Damn, okay. I retract my statement.
I mean, again, I can be wrong. I admit that. I could be wrong. Sure. But there was something called a steak and kidney pudding, which earliest time that was written down was in 1751.
Hmm. Hmm.
My source is Wikipedia, but
Good enough.
I'm just saying
But yeah.
it's not like they
Anyways,
invented this 1,000 years ago and called it a day.
yeah. Anyways, back to the pie task at hand instead of ruminating about eating pies.
Yes, Frank did a shit job.
Yeah. They were
And
just too honest about the task. It's like, oh, these are gonna be actual pies.
it's like he hadn't watched Taskmaster before. Just saying, he hadn't watched
That
this in a.
would be true because this is the first
I
one.
know, I know. Everyone else has had an advantage of knowing what Taskmaster is about. Not Frank.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first dumbass to sign up for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Josh doesn't do well either, to be honest.
Yeah, Josh and Ramesh both had the unfortunate like, all right, let me pick this one. Oh, it ripped open.
Yeah. I mean, in both cases, the button fell out, apparently.
And that's why I think they're all like tampered in the same manner. Because like I was looking at like back at the recording of Frank's thing, and every time they specifically pick up the pie and smell its bottom, and I see the same clear circle cut on all the bottoms.
Hold up, I gotta go look at that.
Yeah.
I'm actually like you're blowing this open now. You've blown this whole thing open. This is important. Let me just real quick. We don't accidentally get actual Taskmaster audio on the stream and get sued to oblivion.
Yeah, that's why I've been keeping on mute this whole time.
Alright, let me just where. Oh. Hang on. This is important. Hang on. Yeah. He might have a point. Yeah, I'm looking at Rumish is holding a pie. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna err on the side of caution. Take a screenshot. And put that on screen now. I can. Because there is something very important about this, and if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. But trust me, this is just one of those where you're like, oh, you know?
Yeah, it really gets you thinking about
Yeah,
how the
my
sausage
knocking
is
is now
made.
jogging. We've uncovered something here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Putting it on screen now, zooming in real big. That is, Rummy is holding a pie with a very, very clear cut in the bottom. Like, that bottom is not attached to the walls one bit.
Mm-hmm.
This is... I mean, I'm not going to say it's rigged, but... This is not a fair competition. This is not a fair competition one bit, Bayo. You're onto something.
Yeah. That's why I don't fault, like, both, Josh and Ramesh about, like, it falling apart. I was like, I mean, it's not structurally sound in the first place. Come on.
It isn't. No, it isn't.
Like, the fact that the other contestants were able to pick it up and look at the bottom clearly while it survived is, like, a miracle, you know?
I mean, how did you lift the marbles one without it just imploding on you?
Mm-hmm.
That alone. That alone.
Yeah.
And I mean, and of course, how are you supposed to guess that is this photo of the Taskmaster in a, pie?
Yeah, and exactly like that one, that and the marble one, those two are like the most like, oh yeah, this had to be post pie surgery because those two materials could not survive, and the frozen peas, like those three materials, like oh, you couldn't actually bake it and keep it in the current state intact.
I mean,
Like,
you say that, but there is such a thing as a baked Alaska, which is an ice cream baked into a pie.
mm,
That is a thing, but that's still ice cream. That starts as very frozen.
mhm.
It doesn't start as fucking toothpaste.
And you probably also could have the basic Alaska process could probably include intentionally freezing it even further so that it would survive baking.
Yes, you know what, babe? You have converted me. I think there's been foul play here.
Mm-hmm.
Foul play. Like, they made 5 steak pies because they had a steak pie, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And they have confused Frank, and now he's sad and doesn't get to win, an Arsenal hat.
Exactly.
Very sad, very sad.
But to be fair, Frank went the honest route, whereas there were two big brain operations here. One was big brain, and the other was small big brain.
Doesn't mean medium brain?
Nah, it's worse than medium. It's like you had a brain blast, but it's in the wrong direction.
Go on. I'm listening.
So, of course, I'm talking about Tim and Rasheen, where both of them had the ideas like, wait, I can't do anything to these
Yeah.
pies, but you can. One of them went forward with them and was like, I'll watch you do it. And the other one was like, no, I won't watch you do it.
Rasheen
Like,
is an absolute genius. Like, how do you just wake up and go, yeah, we're gonna cheat, but I'm gonna look the other way?
It was so close. It was like, why?
And I mean, Alex eating a toothpaste pie, never have I felt more sorry for a man.
Yeah, I would have been on Tim boats from the get go. Like if I was part of the task, I would just read it as like, well, I can't do anything yet, but there's all of you here. So what about you guys?
Get the intern to eat the toothpaste.
I would just been very clear about. It. I was like, just rip it open for me.
It just,
just shred it.
I do wish someone had made Alex like punch the marble pie. Just because.
I mean, Tim was close. Tim was having Alex do random actions on each pie.
But he hadn't punched something another pie.
Yeah, and that's just by pure chance. It could have been the marble pie, but the odds.
I mean, Okay, I'm gonna be cruel to Alex Horn, but if he gets hurt, that's funny. I know. It's cruel and unusual, but I mean,
I
it's
mean,
Taskmaster.
to be fair, if you asked Alex Horn to punch the marble pie, you don't know it's marble, but they do. So they will probably relent a little bit and be like, no, 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 no. And you'd be
No, he
like,
would do it. He would do it.
you think they'll be that professional and just go, ugh.
He's a Alex Horn is a professional. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't shy away from humiliation, pain, or whatever the toothpaste pie is. He'll regret
True, they
it.
did willingly eat it when asked.
I mean, I think punching a bag of marbles probably hurts less than eating toothpaste.
It's probably also less detrimental. Technically, toothpaste is poisonous.
That is technically true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't usually eat toothpaste, so
I know,
yeah.
right? I wonder if there was a spit take on that, where they cut out the part where Alex Horn just like vomited it immediately.
No, I don't think he did because the pie was whole when he bit it.
Yeah, but I meant like he bit it, and Rasheen asked about it, and then he spit it out.
That is a valid point. I mean, if he's sane, he probably did.
Mm-hmm.
If he's sane.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very
A
yeah,
strong conditional.
a
Mm-hmm.
strong conditional, especially for this show.
Mm-hmm.
I only have one final note for this task, and that is
Yeah.
how Ramesh is acting. He's like a. It's very, I don't know how much you do varsity sports. You just kick a ball around with your mates, stuff like that. Okay, no. Ramesh has that swagger of a man who just kicked in a brilliant goal against his mate. You know, like smashed it, mate. Told you it was great, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Even
I do that
though,
every week, mate.
in the end it wasn't.
Oh no, but he has that good old swagger on him.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I feel in case you're watching this during some kind of men's mental health month, it's okay to have swagger. It's good
Mm-hmm.
for you.
It's good to have confidence.
Yes, a lot of men will start podcasts instead of going to therapy, and here we are. So, in conclusion, Josh gets 5 points. Tim gets
Mm-hmm.
5 points. Sorry, I keep
Mm-hmm.
mixing them up. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yep. Josh and Tim are very common names. That's probably why.
I mean, they look kind of common. One has bad hair, the other has bad hair.
Yeah, I'll concede that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. They just have very common hair, very common names. Common
Mm-hmm.
faces, too, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, I suggest we move on to task number 3.
Yeah.
Do something that will look impressive in reverse.
All right. So I'm going to have my first hot take here.
Oh boy.
I consider this to be in the bottom tier type of tasks.
You know what?
I do not like tasks and taskmasters where there's prep time, explicit prep time, and production time. I don't think those are good tasks.
Yes, especially because they never actually, keep to their own rule, Oh, you have 30 minutes to prepare this, and it's clear it's taken 8 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, it's a subjective task. It's an art task. As we see Rasheen getting 5 points for spitting water.
Yeah. The subjective part is not what bothers me. It's the fact that it's not on-spot panic. I
Yeah.
would think that is top tier, and anything that has like long-form prep is bottom tier.
I mean, some of the long-form prep things are good, don't get me wrong.
They are
This
good and
is
funny,
not.
but I still consider them bottom tier
Yeah.
just for the fact that they have prep time.
I will also say this is not one of them. And as much as I like Ramesh's thing, I mean, he did dub it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I will also say I'm disappointed that he had to share his win. Because singing about being a tree wizard that creates balloons. Come on, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
I do
Tree
give them points
wizard.
for doing the dubbing, but I don't give them points for the creativity in what is here.
Come on, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious, but I don't find it creative enough, you know?
True.
Like, I do find it better than Frank's, which is just the simple reverse push-up.
I mean, it's not even a good push-up.
No, it's not even good.
It's like
but
it's the death cries of a 60-year-old man, for crying out loud.
yeah, but it's still a 4th place to me, Ramesh is.
Really? Are you that
Yeah,
hateful?
not hateful. It's just that
You hate
I
the
don't find
tree
it as
wizard.
I don't hate the tree wizard. I
You
just
hate the
don't
tree
find it
wizard.
creative. I would put Rasheen in 3rd,
I don't get
and
it. It's too artsy.
too artsy.
Yeah.
But I also find it like too like indirect. Oh, I didn't take into account Tim's puzzle thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's CGI in that.
CGI?
Yeah, if you look at the
Oh, yeah.
clock,
The clock,
the
yeah.
clock has nothing to do with the rest of the task. It's just it's chopped on later. I guarantee it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I am extremely right because I always am.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Well, first let me finish. I would put Josh first with the
Okay,
pull in the
you're
truck
also
thing.
wrong about that, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Okay. The puzzle one. Okay, the puzzle one I would put in 4th. Then Tree Wizard about the puzzle one in 3rd.
But it's still CGI.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be CGI. Like, time doesn't move like that. It doesn't
No.
dilate like you're near a fucking neutron star or whatever. Like, this is an Einsteinian physics, you know?
Yeah.
But other than that, it's fine. It looks impressive in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
That's the task.
True. Yeah.
And as for Josh and his pulling a van thing, first
Mm-hmm.
of all, he's shit at acting it. Like, he's not
Fair.
his ass ain't touching the goddamn floor as he's directing the van.
Fair. I'll give you that. Fair.
Second of all, if you've ever seen a strongman contest, it's not that hard to pull heavy things that are on wheels.
Are you sure about that?
I am
Because
really honestly sure about that, yeah.
really,
Yeah, I'm genuinely serious. Once, like, the strongmen, they like to pull a fucking truck. Like, and a big
yeah.
old semi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, and this may surprise you, bigger than a van.
Yeah.
And that van, that's like, looks like a Citroen Berlingo or something. It's at most 1,500 kilos. I'm
Right.
just saying, it's not impossible to pull that. I mean, of course, not by your hand alone, but
Yeah.
I'm just struggling to not look at strongmen pulling trucks and then comparing it to Josh on a skateboard, which is a
Right. No,
really
of course.
unfair.
Yeah.
It's a really unfair comparison.
Yeah. But also, I think your the problem with your estimation about the strongman part is the initial momentum is high, and then the amount of wheels touching the ground with rubber actually applies a lot of friction force.
But still, you can drag a van.
You can, but like I
Oh,
don't think
you
it's
can't,
as
but
easy as you pertain it to be.
well, I might be judging because I'm built like a fridge.
Mhm.
I'm 6'3".
Like
I'm built like a
like
brick. I could do it.
I mean, to be fair, it's not the hardest strongman task, but it's also not like trivial in general. You
I
know?
didn't say it was trivial. I'm just saying it's possible.
Oh, of course it's possible. All those things are possible. If they weren't possible, it wouldn't be entertaining to see 5 people fail at it. You know?
Yeah, sure. I'm also just saying Josh could have acted it better.
Yeah, true.
I mean, he still did better than Frank, but
Yes.
like now in my world, I would have put. Now I've just put Ramesh at 4 and Russian at. No, I would put Ramesh at 5 and Russian at 4th. No, sorry, at 4 points, and then Ramesh with 5 points. Because Russian, as artsy as it was, at least looked good in reverse,
True. Okay. Yeah.
It was just too artsy for me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I will keep shitting on Frank, by the way. Because there's no way that looked impressive even going the right direction.
Yeah, in both directions, nah. Yeah, no.
No,
Frank
just
definitely earned that last.
I mean, he could have been shot for it, you know?
Oh, come on, don't go that harsh.
I don't know about that. He did 2 push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay. You think, Frank? Careful you don't sprain something, Frank. I'm not. I like the guy. Okay, I'm shitting on him for fun.
Yeah.
But you know, that
I
was
mean,
still it was one of the least impressive things I've seen this season.
yeah. I mean, to be fair, even with any given amount of time, I don't think I would come up with anything.
No, come on. I mean, I don't know what I would have come up with, but I wouldn't have done 2 push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have done something Tim-like, you know. But I think
You know what? Actually, now I've given 5 seconds of thought. I would probably make a thing about like using the force pull, which is just me throwing objects in choreographic matter.
it sounds like something Ramesh would have done if he didn't feel like an 8-year-old that day, you know.
Yeah, with the blue tree wizard. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, here's one. Watermelon healer. With a touch of his hand, he brings the watermelon back to one piece.
True, like one hand dunk a watermelon, so that in reverse it looks like you're just like channeling the watermelon back into your hand.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's at least 3 points right there.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
There we go. We're hereby rated to be in Taskmaster.
Mm-hmm.
In conclusion, though, no one knows what's up. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this sentence.
Yeah. I mean, the subjective part always comes down to the judge, but I do trust Greg's judgment here. Mm-hmm.
About that.
Okay.
He's so tall he can't see what's going on anyway.
Good point.
You insinuated that yourself, you know.
I know. They overlook a lot of things, their height.
Quite literally.
Oh, that's good.
Let's move on to the final task of the night, the live task.
Yep. Yeah.
Again, well, this is better than the last live task.
It's a little better. Yeah, you're right.
Crack the code. It's like you have a chain around you, and you know there's bike lock for 4 digits.
Mm-hmm.
Unshackle yourself and sprint 1 meter, and I will just say no one sprinted. It took more like a long step. Because if they had sprinted, they would have continued off the stage into the audience, killing someone.
I think the stage is far from the audience, but they would definitely hurt themselves.
Well, I mean, if you're Usain Bolt, he's fast, right?
Yeah.
Like, 10 meters a second fast. If he had just run off the stage, he would have hit the audience, because it's like, what, a few meters tops?
We would need a better aerial shot, but I do believe the stage is farther than 10 meters away from the audience. I have less than a second air time.
I think you're a pessimist.
No, definitely, because I now have a shot here where it shows that the stage is beyond all 5 chairs to the audience. So given their seating in the chairs and the distance, that stage is definitely over 10 meters away from the audience.
Okay,
so
fine.
They wouldn't. So even if the stage was it was 10 meters high, they would still hit the ground before making it to the audience.
So what you're saying is they should actually have sprinted off the stage, and they could have landed on like some pillows or something. Drama.
I mean, to be fair, also in this shot, it looks like they have another good 2 to 3 meters past the rope line, because the shot is from behind I'm looking at here. So at least at that point you could be like dead stop quickly, because they're not professional sprinters, so they could dead stop themselves.
Yeah, true, but I'm just saying it would be more funny this way.
It would be.
Minor injury.
I mean, to also be fair, none of them had like the impetus to sprint, because they were all like singly the one who unshackled themselves at that moment. So there's no reason to do a sprint right now.
And imagine if Frank had broken into a sprint. Like an actual sprint.
Mm-hmm.
God, he might have died.
True.
Torn all his quads. Both of his quads, all the leg muscles. I'm being morbid now, sorry.
As
We
improbable as it is, it would still be most amazing if it played out this way, where one contestant just like slapped their hand against all the dials to get a random number, and that had to be it, and
and
just
that would have
immediately
been
went.
awfully impressive.
It would be so impressive, but so unlikely.
So unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
And but speaking of the dials, right? This is
Yeah.
where not being British really harms us.
Yeah, the stones.
What the fuck is this? I mean, I've heard it before, but I missed. What is a stone?
Yeah, what is the
It's
stone?
it's 6.53029 kilograms.
Yeah, it's just a odd unit, just like
It's a
feet.
super odd unit. I mean, a lot of imperial units are odd. Sorry,
Yeah.
American.
Fuck the imperial system. Metric is the way to go.
I mean, come on. You know, the rest of the world has dumped it. Just get with the program. Stop using fucking stones.
But
I mean,
that's
I
the
don't like
other
feet
weird thing
either.
about England in specific. They have adapted metric for most other things except stones. Why stones?
I don't know.
Why do they keep to that one of all of them?
Weird, because I'm looking at the Wikipedia page.
Mm-hmm.
The name derives from the stones they used for weights. I mean, for fuck's sake. So how heavy is it? Well, it's like that stone over there, you know?
Yeah, it's just like 6 of those over there. Well, what is that one compared to that one?
Okay,
How could I know?
what if I get 6 stones from another village, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Now I will say there is one place it does actually fit, and apparently one stone is 14 pounds.
Okay, that's at least a smooth translation. Still not a good thing, but
Oh. And then a quarter is, 2 stone. And this is the best one. A hundredweight is 112 pounds.
of course.
Of course. Why the fuck would it be anything different, you know?
Yeah. Ugh.
Just, here's 100, and he brings you 112, you know? Thanks, man.
So, so moral of the episode: fuck Imperial, adopt metric. All right.
Apparently, the Encyclopedia Britannica, which is a book,
Mhm.
from 1772 says the following. A stone of beef in London is the quantity of 8 pounds. In Hertfordshire, 12 pounds. And in Scotland, 16 pounds.
Come on.
They can't even get their shit together within the country.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, just give up at this point. Just a fucking
Yeah.
kilogram. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm very biased, of course.
I mean, we both are. Like,
Yeah,
I metric all the way, you know?
of course, of course. Like, I may.
But it's also the other interesting thing about, like, general historical thing, because it's also interesting that, like, the 12 base system did not survive long.
I mean, of course, it's base 12.
Yeah, but on New Mortals, the base 12 comes from the fact that you can count that on a hand alone using the segments of your fingers and your thumb.
I want to do that. I also have 10 fingers.
Yeah, but it's the point being more that you can count to higher numbers using your hands if you do base 12 or base 10 this way.
Yeah, but it's still stupid. Base 12 is stupid. I mean, I think a lot of things are stupid. I'm a software engineer, so I just use base 1, but.
Base 1, yeah.
Just kidding, just kidding.
Mhm.
We don't use numbers.
Why use numbers when you can use representations like the Greeks did?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. How long is this? It's 1 string long, mate. What?
Yeah, it's just a variable long. Well,
It's
what
just
is
one
that variable?
variable.
I don't know. It's a variable.
If the
Deal
number
with
is too
it.
big, it's 2 variables long.
Yeah, it's like deal with it. It's like okay.
which is actually an issue I have at work right now. I have to change the number to a big number.
Oof.
Because the number we have to type in is too big for a regular number.
Mm-hmm.
Which can only be 8 numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But we need something that can handle like 11 numbers, which is like a lot more numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So in conclusion, don't use stone.
Yeah, don't use stone.
On a related note, British money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me just, British pound sterling. And they decimalized, as it was called, back in 1970. Until then, you had a pound, right?
Yeah.
You have a guinea, which was 1.05 pounds.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I know. You had a shilling, which was a 20th of a pound.
Okay, that makes more sense.
A penny, which was a 124th of a pound.
Okay, that makes much less sense.
Yes. And you had a coin, which was, and I shit you not, quarter of a penny. So you
Why
had
do you need to go that small?
Yeah, how much is this coin worth? I don't know, around 960th of a pound. Why?
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 What? Why?
I don't know. They didn't fix this until our parents' lifetime, basically, 1971.
Damn. Okay.
And in conclusion, they shouldn't make TV shows in Britain because they just do stupid shit like that. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
How do you
But going back to the task on hand, my other complaint about the task, now that I think about it.
Oh, right, we're doing a Taskmaster podcast.
Exactly. My other complaint about the task is that instead of being based on something that is presented ahead of time and then it's just you to perform it, they present to you almost none of the information ahead of time, just like drip feed it along the way.
Here's some guess these 4 numbers. Okay. Can we have a hint? My weight.
Your weight in what? Na.
Well, I mean, they're British, so of course they know they mean stone, but
True. But still, it's like that's like fuck up. It's like guess my weight, guess their weight. It's like
I don't know. How about guess my age? That would be a fun one, wouldn't it?
I still feel like no matter what it is, I still would feel like this is a terrible live task if it were just to be like, start a task and then I'll give you information.
But also the thing is that nothing is actually happening on stage. You're just sitting still.
Yeah,
Fiddling.
that's true too.
Like, you don't have the visual aspect of, like, putting 2 fruits on top of each other or something like that.
That would have been a good live task to just balance 2 things on top of each other, and that's it.
They probably have done that before, to be honest.
I don't remember that happening, so that's why I'm like so surprised about that statement.
I don't know, it just sounds like they probably would. Regardless of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no visual aspect. They're just, I mean, if you're the audience, right?
Yeah.
You're sitting at 10 meters distance trying to see a guy fiddle with a fucking bike clock.
Oh, for them it's much further. We're talking like 20 to 30.
Meters?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, no, this is the most unappealing from the audience perspective. It's just like them just touching their ankles, and it's like, okay.
I guess. I mean, you're not wrong, but... So, we completely forgot to talk about scores. Russian wins.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she was actually ahead before this task.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably a good thing, considering she was eradicated in the last program.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank was ahead, and now he's last. I feel that may be rigged. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think you can rig this one.
The whole TV show. The whole episode.
Oh,
I mean, again, I know.
Yes.
It's television. It's okay. I'm not saying this needs to be a fair competition, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a bit on the nose, isn't it? Number 1 and 2 are last and second last in the next episode.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not gonna criticize them. I get why they do it. It's a television show, right?
Of course, of course.
I mean, I don't want to sound like I hate Taskmaster. I love Taskmaster. We're doing a podcast about Taskmaster.
Mhm, mhm.
I'm just saying it's a remarkable coincidence.
Indeed, it is.
And I don't know if that coincidence continues the next time. It almost does. Sorry, I looked
Mhm.
ahead. Oh yeah, I have one note left in my paper.
All, and that is.
Note to self: check rules to see if you're allowed to injure the audience.
I mean,
I I mean, I think we probably know the answer to that.
yeah, I think that's a very obvious no.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Mm,
And yet I feel it was an important question.
of course
And
it is.
I have not actually looked it up, okay?
Mhm, mhm.
So there's that. Well, I'm out of things.
Same.
For that case, join us in the next episode where we talk about Frank Skinner's age.
Mhm,
Is it as
mhm.
high as we think it is? Yeah, it probably is, actually.
Probably. Or is it surprisingly low for what we see?
I think he's a lizard.
Good conspiracy, good conspiracy.
There's a lot
We
of
must
lizard
investigate
talk.
this.
As we're recording this, by the way, Kate Middleton hasn't been seen for 2 months, and people are saying she's been turned into a lizard.
Oh, damn, okay.
Yes. If you don't understand this reference in 2025, just look up something called Twitter. Anyway,
I mean, even at time of recording, that name is no more.
I will not call it X. You
I
cannot
know it's
trademark a letter.
it's the new name is terrible. They had such good branding and they're throwing it out with the bathwater, but like it does make a terrible time
Look,
for like
I'm telling
ontology
you,
purposes.
they will walk back from X, okay? I guarantee it. You cannot trademark a single fucking letter.
That is true. That is true.
And on that bitterly disappointing lesson in how to do marketing, I say it is a good time to call quits. I'm Jasper
Okay.
Normal, that's beothealea. Our Twitter names are written below our names, if you can see them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We love you, please follow us. Okay.
Bye.
Yes. Bye.